we going to get into today? Well, today is Distillers Corner, and the question is, how much grain do I need? Okay, so what we're going to do is, well, we're going to try to figure out how much grain do we need for a recipe. You know, if we have a, well, let's do this first. What's the difference between a grain bill and a recipe? Okay, but first things first, welcome to Distillers and Brewing. My name is Randy, and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. All right, so first off, welcome to Distillers Corner. And like I said a couple seconds ago, the question is, how much grain do I need? Okay, so a grain or a mash recipe is basically when somebody gives you a recipe or you come up with yourself is, hey, I need 5 pounds of this, I need 3 pounds of that, I need 2 pounds of that. That's a recipe. Okay, a grain bill is, sometimes you find a grain bill and it says, okay, you want 50% of this, 30% of that, 20% of this, and so on. So that is a grain bill. It don't give you no amounts. It just gives you a percentage. Okay, so that is basically what the difference is. All right. So I'm not going to give you a particular recipe. This is something for you to help you figure out what you want to do. So basically, I found a grain bill that looks good to me, so I want to try to figure out how much grain do I need for my recipe, all right? So there is a few things that we do need to calculate, okay? Now, you have seen in the past my grain bill worksheet. I've tried to simple it up a little bit more. And it seems to work out real well, so we're going to go over that. And so some of the questions I have is, hey, of course, what is PPG? Points per pounds per gallon, okay? And you can find that information if you go online or ask Google, hey, what's the PPG of yellow down corn? And it will tell you, and it should be right around 30 points. Okay, but we'll get into that. So let's go over this form here, and then that will help you. I'll help you try to understand this of what, if I can. All right, so let me get set up with that, and we're going to go over the grain bill worksheet, and it will help you try to devise your own recipe or to, like I said before, to help figure out a grain bill so you know what to get for grain-wise for your grain bill. Because look, the big guys, they use thousands of pounds, and we're using, like in this, I got an example of a bourbon right here, it is 22 pounds. Right, so there's a big difference. All right, so let me get set up, and then we're going to go over this worksheet, okay? Okay, so this is the grain bill. There's one that's blank, okay? And here's one that's filled out, and I'm going to scribble all over it. Okay, so let's get started. We'll start at the top. Of course, you need what you're making, because you can save these records so you can adjust how things work out for you. Okay, so our desired starting gravity is 1.090, right? And it is at 6 gallons is how much mash I want. All right, brew house efficiency. Well, an average brew house efficiency for a lot of people I've found is 70%. Okay, and so what does that mean is if they say that I'm gonna get, say, 30 points out of corn, if you're really scientific and all that, you know that depends. That's if I get 100% of it. So let's say I'm 70%. is my brew house efficiency. So we want to make sure we have enough grain. All right, so you just take the 1 off there, so it puts it at 90, right? You got me? So 90 times 6 is 540 points, okay? Then you move on down to here. All right, now we're going to do our adjustments. So we got our 540 points times the 70% of brew house efficiency equals 378. So the 540 minus the 378. So our efficiency points adjusted is 162. Okay? Easy enough so far. So let's go over here. So the target points, like I said, was 540. Our brew house efficiency points adjusted is 162. And we add them together, so 702 points should get us close to the 1.090. All right, there. So now, let's go do the ingredients. All right, so we got corn. The ppg of corn is basically 30. All right, we got barley. The ppg of barley is 37, and that was a 2-row barley. All right, rye is right around 29 points. So if we add those together, it's 96. I'm gonna divide it by 3 because I want to average. Now you can do every single thing, but I do an average, it works out for me. So our average is 32 points. All right, so adjusted target points is the 702, right? Divided by the 32 equals 22. So we basically need 22 pounds for this bourbon to get close to the 1.090. All right, and you can adjust it all yourself. So, all right, so that's what we need for our recipe here. 22 pounds. All right, well, how much do we need each? Okay, so our grain bill that we want to try to make, we're going to put it right here. So we want 55% of it being corn, 35 being barley, and 10% rye. That, of course, that equals 100%, right? So 22 times the 55 is 12.01 pounds. Barley, 22 times to 35% equals 7.7 pounds. And rye, 22 times 10 is going to be 2.2 pounds for this recipe, and you add it all up equals 22 pounds. All right, so there is what we need. All right, and you should be relatively close, and then you might have to do some adjusting. Maybe your brew house efficiency a little better or a little bit worse, but it's going to get you close into the ballpark. All right, okay. Okay, so like I said, that will get you close. It does a fairly close job, so that'll get you close. Nothing's perfect, and I don't guess PPG is always perfect, but you gotta have somewhere to start, right? So, but you can help you save these in a binder, keep notes on that, so when you go to make it next time, maybe you want a little bit more, maybe you want a little bit less. And it's just like everything. You might want a little more rye, you might want a little less rye. So yes, there's a science to this, and that's as close as I can get. Okay, so I've offered it out in the past that if you would like a copy of, a blank copy of this, and what I have been doing is I've been sending out a filled out one too, so that you can kind of look as you're filling one of these out, the blank one out, where the numbers go. So I usually do send both of them out. And I've had good comments on them. It really helps people out. So if you would like a copy, and just be patient with me, I'm computer slow. Just send me an email to stillworksandbrewing@gmail.com. All right, if I think about it, I'll put the thing up here. But it's stillworksandbrewing@gmail.com, all lowercase letters, all one word. Okay, and I will be glad to get it out to you. All right. Now, one other thing is, hey, if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there, because it really does help us a lot. I mean, you don't understand how much it helps us. And if you did that, you might as well hit the thumbs up and the notification bell. And hey, please leave a comment. I'll get back to you, and all that good stuff. All right. So that is our Distillers Corners. How much grain do we need? All right. And if there's other topics you want me to do on Distillers Corner, please leave a note in the comment section, and I write everything down. And they're not all in 100% order, but it is what it is, right? Okay, so it's a lot of fun. And I guess the last thing I got to say is, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Cheers, everybody.